Man, all right, y'all, what's going on? The voice is with you on a Wednesday afternoon, talking all things softball. We call this thing the recap. Um, Happy to be here with you. Strap in. It's going to be a long show. We got a lot to talk about as it relates to results because I was not on last week. Another trip which kept me from getting on the air. So we will talk about USSSA State's Part 2 from last week. And then this past weekend, there was an all-nighter. We'll go over the results of the men's D, the men's C, and there was a co-ed division as well. Four different divisions from the state championship a couple weeks ago. We will preview this coming weekend, and also not too much, but next weekend is the start of GSL states, which a lot of people were very excited about as well. Some quick information off the jump. I was made aware of this week. I was not already aware. There is no regionals this year, so the Triple Crown is not actually a Triple Crown this year. I was kind of disappointed about that myself. I've liked advertising this whole Triple Crown thing. No Triple Crown this year, so we will have the GSL State Championships, and then World Season is right on top of us. A lot quicker than what I would have liked to have seen, to be honest. Um, Triple Crown season has done well here in Arizona, but can't do too much about that. So a couple quick messages from um, the commissioner's desk. Oh, excuse me. Some words from our man Bob Fuller. He wanted me to stress that teams need to go sign up for world events before they sell out. GSL Worlds will sell out quick. I will agree with that. U-Trip, probably not. GSL, very, very popular those weekends in Vegas. So, again, per Bob, get your team signed up for the GSL World events. Do not wait to the last second because there is the chance that they will sell out and your team will be left out of all the good times. You can sign up and pay later online for both USSSA and GSL Vegas World events. Also, a reminder to everyone, it is play up, stay up season, postseason, so choose wisely. Obviously, more information about that is going to come. But if it is anything like what last year was, a couple things. You can only play in one classification, so you cannot play C Worlds and also D Worlds, even if they are on separate weekends. And in these events coming up, there is less flexibility. So if you play up, there is a very good chance that the computer will not change you back to where you were. Keep that in mind in the events coming up. You have been warned. Don't run into the situation where you're a D player and you play on a C roster and then you can't go back down. You're going to be stuck. And we have had that issue with some quality players over the years. So we definitely don't want that to happen to guys this year. Guys, gals, whatever the case may be. There's some good teams putting some good things together. So we want to make sure those teams have the best opportunities. But there's always a ton of moving and shaking this time of the year as we get close. Obviously, for these state events, teams have finally had enough of their 0-2, 1-2 type teams. Players are moving around, getting opportunities to play on teams. Me, myself, I love to see it. I'm a fan of I like to call it the waiver wire moves where teams start bulking up for this time of the year to really make a run at some legendary type stuff. So we hope that we get to see it this year. Shout out to teams like Built Different and the Valley Boys, who have made those goals look obtainable here for the state of Arizona. We hope to have some success with such things coming up, and of course, Challenge Cup season. And before we get going too much, I did not make a slide, but I want to say a public congratulations, being as I play senior ball. Haven't as much this year, but got love from my guys. So shout out to Ryan Hawkins, who was selected as the 40s rec team manager for the Challenge Cup for the second consecutive season. And shout out to Dave Calvert, who gets the nod for the 40s competitive team, though both are competitive. They need to change the names of that. I hate the names for it. Even call it upper and lower. I'm going to call it upper and lower. You know, I like to do things my way. Shout out to Ryan Hawkins for being selected to the senior 40s lower manager, and shout out to Dave Calvert for the senior 40s upper manager spots. I know the players are going to be having those conversations, and be looking forward to seeing those teams. So those were the first two announcements. More announcements will be coming. I like that we're doing it a little bit earlier. I'm almost certain I'll be doing the BSC team again, but you know, we'll see when the announcement drops. But God, when I told you guys last year that I would think about it for the entire year, so far so good. I've been thinking about it a lot, and there's been a couple names that have jumped up that I look forward to adding to the team this year. Von Washington, where you at, baby? Yeah, I can't wait to run it back. But everybody's looking forward to Challenge Cup season. We'll get into that down the line, but we got some other stuff to get into. And let's talk and pay some bills real quick. Shout out to the sponsors first and foremost. As always, the Collins Law Firm. If you are in need of legal advice, Ernie and Sam and their great team ready to take care of you and yours. All things accidents, contracts, injuries, business law, insurance, landlord, or tenant. Ernie and his team ready to hook you up. Email some information over to info@thecollinslaw.com, but they pick up the phone too, 480-534-3787. Collins Law Firm, proud sponsor of Fresh in the Women's Conference, the SOB's men's C and D teams, the Arizona BSC and the Arizona Mixed C Challenge Cup teams from 2024, and the Mixed C World Champion, Built Different.
Go, 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 go!
Tired of leaks, low pressures, or rusty water?
Go!
It's time to repipe your home.
Go!
Fast Lane Plumbing gets it done right. Fast, clean, and built to last. Call today and protect your home from inside out.
They're doing their commercials now. You love to see it. My man David Lane and the crew over at Fast Lane Plumbing, they'll get you taken care of. Water heater repairs, water treatment services, water line repiping, emergency plumbing services, sewer line service, leak detection, outdoor misting, clogged drains, and so much more. Friends of the show, and you know, I've loved hearing about the good things that they've got going on over there at Fast Lane Plumbing. So hit them up if you've got any concerns at 480-292-6110. Again, 480-292-6110 for my man David Lane and his crew over at Fast Lane Plumbing. You cannot argue with results. A year in, they've been killing it. Check out their 5-star reviews at flplumbingaz.com. And while you're there, you can also request a quote. Heather Shaw and the crew over at Rogue Auto Glass, all things innovative technology, experienced technicians, quality products, simple process, mobility, and the best word of all, guarantee. Head on over to azrogueautoglass.com to see about an insurance quote or a cash quote. And their experience expands beyond just your windows. Along with auto glass replacement and repairs, they handle chip repairs, ADAS calibration, window tinting, and mobile detailing. Drive away with confidence with Rogue Auto Glass, 480-815-7400. Drip Sports Apparel, my man Nugget and his crew offering all things sublimation, including shorts, hoodies, polos, batting gloves. They've got embroidered hats. They've got a whole lot of everything. And their number one priority is to partner with their customers to make sure they get exactly what they want at a great price without the hassle or unnecessary delays. 10 is the minimum for the initial order. No minimum on add-ons, no art fees. Though a deposit is collected to cover the artwork, it is credited on the final invoice. Drip Sports Apparel, proud sponsors of Lady Strive and the USSSA Men's D State Champion, Chosen Iron. Head on over to www.dripsportsapparel.com. All right. Vegas Worlds, we just talked about it a little bit. The men's D and E divisions are headed out for U-Trip Worlds earlier than normal, August 22nd through the 24th. Once again, there is no Arizona Regional this year, so no Triple Crown. It's just the U-Trip states and the GSL states. And Worlds a little bit earlier this year. Get your team signed up if you haven't already earned a berth. Get over to utrip.com or get in contact with one of the names on the screen there and get your teams signed up for USSSA Las Vegas Worlds, August 22nd through the 24th. Now, Bob, it's 1 month away. Looking forward to that. What's going on? I see some hellos. The TGF family has already invaded. We will be talking about them, of course, here in a little bit. This weekend, there is a Moonlight Mixer. Victory Lane, they allow drinking, so I guess we can go with that. So that's the event this weekend. It appears to be men's CD. There is no men's CD. That got canceled. There's only a men's E. We'll look at the brackets here in a moment. The women's CD combined, and they've got more teams than they had this past for state, so I like that. Co-ed on Sunday as well out there at Victory Lane. Next weekend, of course, GSL states. Now, those might not be the correct divisions. Co-ed for sure. They have like a warm-up every week, basically. But co-ed is having an all-nighter for their state championship in a couple weeks into August. So the co-ed state championship will have its own weekend. So start preparing now if you want to put teams together. We kind of talked up the co-ed states last year, and it actually turned out to be a pretty good show. Since there was no men's or no women's that weekend, teams loaded up, and we actually had a good time with the state championships last year. We're hoping to do that again this year. I would love to get out there and get on the mic and provide you guys the coverage for that. But it will be an all-nighter. So co-ed all-nighter for states a couple weeks from now. But we've got the 2 weeks of GSL. So I imagine GSL is going to be next weekend, and then the following weekend, and then the weekend after that will be the co-ed event. Those might not be the divisions, though. I'm probably wrong because I didn't update it. But if it is anything like the first weekend, it was men's C and men's D. So that's probably the case this time. We'll take a look at that as we get a little closer. August look ahead is provided. I probably should have just turned the page and I would have made life easier on myself. Y'all know I damn sure do not do that. But yes, the GSL event this coming weekend, C and D, with a co-ed warm-up. The following weekend, States Part 2 with the men's BC and the E divisions, and then the women's divisions as well. Sunday co-ed. And then the following weekend, well, there's also a senior event that weekend. The following weekend will be the co-ed state championship, all-nighter, all divisions out there at Victory Lane. Jason's taking on everything at once. It's going to be a hella party. Again, last year we set it off pretty good. Do it again. Plan on putting a co-ed team together for August 16th and 17th. I believe if I'm remembering correctly, you have to play states to be able to play at Worlds. So if you plan on taking a team to co-ed Worlds, you're going to be playing on August 16th, 17th weekend for sure. And then the end of the month, secure the bag all-nighter, advertised as men's C thus far. I'm sure changes. All of this is always subject to change, but we got a little something going every weekend here with the U-Trip family. So be ready to get involved in the action in the blazing hot month of August. Let's take a look at the Moonlight Mixer for this coming weekend. This is the men's E division. Hurt Feelings will take on Coyotes. Outcast versus Lucid Legends. The Aztecs will take on D&D. AZ Outlaws, after a good showing at States, will take on SS Kings. 80K versus FaZe. These are all 5 o'clock starts. Pluck It versus Wasted Potential. 610 will see Payback versus Make It a Double. And then Batwoods, good luck with that. They jump in and face number 1 ranked Drip, to whom I think we might talk about a little later on the show. The men's E championship is scheduled for 4:40 a.m. going into Sunday morning. We know that's going to be probably a little bit later. The sun's going to come up on a champion. Will Drip capture number 7 and move into a tie with Lady TGF? Well, it depends, because by the time they get to that shit, TGF might be celebrating number 8, as they are in action this weekend. As we take a look at the women's CD bracket, ATO, always an enigma in the women's game. Played up, got dropped back down. You don't see them for extended weeks at a time. They always field a pretty competitive team. Lady SOBs back from the boneyard. That should be a hell of a matchup to get that tournament started. Vendetta, we'll talk about them a little later on in the show. Looking good around the top of that women's D division as well. In the top 3, they will take on Unladylike. Ice Cold Pitches will get started with Nasties. And the aforementioned TGF, Arizona Best 7 titles, will take on Lady Strive, who was a very good team in the women's D division last year. That's no sleeper matchup. If you look at TGF as the potential number 1 seed, this is a CD. So Lady Strive making the bump up the C's. That's a tough first game for a team that is the number 1, hands down D team. Their first game is against a C team. And then Lady SOB's number 2, they get the other C team. So they're getting thrown out there. Let's see what you got early. Will they both come out on top, or will one of those top level D teams have to run them an all-night gauntlet? Find out this Saturday in the Sunday. The ship, 3:30 a.m. And the co-ed on Sunday morning. I don't want to make any promises yet, because I am scheduled to have a 7-year-old by my side this weekend, but he loves going out to these events, and I'm headed up north. I'm not going to be in town. I mean, this is an all-nighter, so it won't matter. But softball is going to be pretty popping this weekend, because Mikey Paulus and his Tropics crew, I believe, are running a tournament up in Flagstaff, I believe it is. So my MAJ team is going up there to play in that event this weekend, along with some other teams. And I'm actually getting to play. So I'm looking forward to that event. Now, I don't know the exact, because it's not an all-day, all-night thing. So I don't know my exact plan when I come back, but I am playing in the co-ed event on Sunday. I was thinking about maybe I can get there a little bit early and do the championship games. But if I got Jackson, I don't know if it's the best idea to bring him at 3:30 in the morning to see TGF versus somebody, or to see the end of the men's event. But I'm thinking about it. But maybe I'll switch weekends with mom. I don't know, but because like I said, I haven't seen enough of the women's D, so I definitely want to get out there. And then once I'm out there, I might as well hang out before my 8 a.m. game when I get to face off against the mighty Bandits. I'll be playing with Rhino and the Legends. We'll be taking on the Bandits at 8 a.m. I get an up close and personal look at one of my new favorite players, Vaughn Washington. Jill Friedman and that squad, who we'll talk about here in the show. Living Hungry will take on Stitch Family. Scared Hitless will take on Stroke It. And Chaos will get Killshot. All those games getting started at 8 a.m. The Mixed D Championship, 3 p.m. on Sunday. And that is a look at what is happening local here this weekend. We got some results to get into. We just talked about the Bandits. They're coming in with a head full of steam. Champions this past weekend in the last one standing all-nighter. Though co-ed was during the day on Sunday. It's very misleading. Congratulations to the Bandits, their third title of the year. They do it going 3-0, scoring 17.67 while allowing 6.67. Nothing personal. They probably took it for 21-4. Los Travesos 21-9. And then Los Peloteros, after an early loss, made it back to the ship, but they fell 11-7. All right. What else we got? The leaderboard. Devin Fowler, 900. Vaughn Washington, 889. He connected for 6 home runs, 2 in each game. And Megan Viramontes, 857, followed by Ileana Munoz, 833 in her co-ed debut. Shout out to her. Jill tends to give me some information. Let's see what she's got. Short and sweet path to win it all. 3-0 on the day for the Bandits. Giving some praise to Vaughn on his 2 homers in each game performance. Shout out to some of our guys who rallied and played co-ed after playing in the men's all-nighter. Bandits, good time to pick up a big win. State's again a couple weeks away. There'll be a couple more tune-ups obviously this weekend. We'll see if they can keep it rolling, or if me and Rhino can help send them to the losers bracket real early this weekend. I got something for that. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out though to the Bandits, number 3 on the year, as we take a look at Los Peloteros finishing in second place, Los Travesos in third. The Misfits looked like they were going to become a problem when I saw them a few weeks ago, but already some tinkering with that roster again, and they fall to fourth place on the weekend. All right. In the men's D, some friends of mine, the little brothers, as I call them, the Chino Tropics, find their way back to the top. Now, I'm not 100%. I'm pretty certain. Yes, this last one standing event was GSL. Here in recent weeks, I've been saying, though they've had a couple letdowns recently, I believe that come GSL, the Tropics are going to be one of my picks to win the whole thing. Tune up the band. 20.25 runs scored per game. They allowed just 7.25. And there were some good teams in it. Down and Dirty, 13-3. Buck Wild, 16-6. The Yard Dogs, who made that miraculous comeback that some people jumped off the Tropic bandwagon when the Yard Dogs came back and beat them a few weeks ago. 32-15. They left absolutely no doubt BDE 20-5 in the ship. Beautiful backdrop there at Victory. The water park wasn't popping at 6 a.m. Mikey Polis was popping all night, though. 875 for him, 9 home runs as he was rocking the bracelet. Sweet Lou, 800. R.W. Shannon, my frenemy these days, as I tend to see him on the other side of the diamond more times than I want because he's very, very good. 750 for him with 3 home runs. J.C. Dyer, 750 with a home run. Dylan Elgin, 750. Bailey Ramirez, 727. And my son's favorite player, Chaz, 692 with 4 home runs. Now, not going to leave this page just yet because I am going to talk a little bit of shit. So Mikey sent me the numbers, and not only did he send me the average, the OBPs and the home runs, which I appreciate because we want to send a little more if you got it than just the OBP. But Mikey made it a point to specify solo home runs. So accountability being taken in the Tropics group chat. RW had 3 home runs. One of those was a solo. You selfish son of a. JC, he had the 1 home run with his 750, but that home run, a solo home run. And Chaz hit 4 home runs, but one of those 4 was a solo home run. So calling his boys out with GSL State's right around the corner. Obviously, 3 home runs per team in the D's, and then you've got your hitter. I think they're doing that teasingly, but I also think they're doing that with a mindset. We got to be smart with the usage. Again, I think this defense, scary good. And obviously the bats can put together a lot of runs. The ability to control the home runs has been their kryptonite. It got them in that tragically big blown lead against the Yard Dogs a few weeks back, I believe, at Bash for Bats, which had some people shaking their head. Nah, I still believe in these cats for sure. I think GSL is about to find out that the Chino Tropics are built for the long run in that event. 4-0 to win this 3rd title of the year. They are now 41-19 on the season. BDE, their best finish since coming up from the E division. They finished in 2nd. The Yard Dogs finish in 3rd, and Buck Wild is your 4th place finisher. And then there was a 3rd division, and it was the Men's C, and Raleigh White captures their 2nd title of the year. 3-0 on the event, scoring 26.67 runs per game, allowing 14 behind their ace, Frank Bavacqua. They defeated the Young Vets 26-16. Mexicali 29-8. Mexicali earned themselves a rematch. Played a little more competitive, but in the end, R-Dub 25-18 to capture the title. Payson Gohagen batted 1,000 with 5 home runs. Payson being your big home run guy? Wow. I love to see it. The little man powering up and doing some great things for R-Dub. John Romero, 818. Garrett Klingensmith, 818 with 3 home runs. Joel Bucknauer, 818 with 4 home runs. Sebo, 727. And Tyler Beal, 727 to round out the leaderboard. What I really love about this, they've got some big dudes with some pop on this team, but you love to see the contributions from Payson Gohagen, and again, small and mighty. Garrett Klingensmith, hovering around 5'5". He hit 3 home runs. He always hits for a high clip, but you love seeing him putting up numbers. Joel Bucknauer is on the better side of 55, still holding it down at shortstop, 818, 4 bombs. Raleigh White might be rounding into form to make themselves a run at GSL State's come next weekend. Very good stuff from this team. And, of course, getting back the services of a number one like Frank Bavacqua on the mound is definitely a big lift for this team. And they're playing some good ball at Adam's favorite time of the year. So shout out to Raleigh White on championship number 2. They were the SummerSlam champions not too long ago. 3-0 on the event, 27-15 now on the year. Mexicali, a good run overnight, finishing in second place. The Young Vets finish in third place. Chosen Iron played up in this one, and they finished in fourth place. Challenged themselves a little bit, but that kind of answered some of the questions because that Young Vets team, a lot of people thought that they should have been a D team this year. They got a chance to go up against Chosen Iron, who was at the top of that D division, and they got the W in a close game. So too early to think about what 2026 is going to look like, but this Young Vets team still scrapping around, and they get a third place finish. But important to them, they were able to go up against that Chosen Iron team and beat them. Chosen Iron is going to be a C team for sure, though, in 2026. They still got some work to do here in 2025. We will see them in action next weekend as they try for their 5th consecutive title in a Triple Crown event. All right. Let's talk about USSSA states, and we're going to start with my pick as the breakout performer of the event, and it is the BCO. The Bryce Gang, a D team, played in the men's D event. And there was some early conversation, early teasing back and forth in separate chat circles that talked about what this team was going to be able to do when they went up against the likes of a Standard Plumbing or an MAJ. Not only did they hold their own, they beat both of them. And not only did they beat both of them, they beat MAJ, my squad, twice. Pool play and in the first bracket game before we ultimately eliminated them in the semifinal. But these boys earned the respect of many high-level ball players. Just kept being asked about, hey, who's number 7, who's number 13, this, that, and the other. These boys can hit. And, you know, the thing that I told my guys at the very beginning, these boys have absolutely nothing to lose. They are a D team that has been accused of having a little bit of bat control issues, but you give them 8 home runs and no IE, and they might be a scary team. And I've even had those conversations with those guys. You guys, once you move up at least one more step, people are going to learn to respect you guys really, really quickly. And we found that out sooner than we expected this past at the states too. The BCO definitely had the attention of any and every. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Big Hunter Bryce, 889, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs while playing the 5-man. That's a big dude. That's a linebacker looking dude that is arguably one of the most nimble guys on the field, the way he holds down the middle. So really nice to see him get his flowers in a big event like that. Ryan Baldonado, 765, 7 home runs. We've known that name for quite some time as one of the best power hitters in our game. He did not disappoint. Sauce Bravo, 706, his power continuing the show in big stages as he had 8 home runs, some of the good God varieties that Brother Dom likes to shout out. 8 bombs, 16 RBIs for Sauce. Dylan Barella, 706. Rhino, 700. Brad Dahl, 647. Connor Gardner, 632. Let me take a moment, though, to show some love to my man Rhino, to whom I very openly have a good friendship with whenever I see him. Looking forward to playing with him for the first time this weekend, but that dude is a beast on the mound. And Papa Rick did his thing pitching as well, as they used a 2-headed monster, but we got to see Rhino in all 3 games that we played against them, and the middle was closed. I think he might have wore 1 off the shin guard, but if it was glove level, he was making the play. And there was one game where he made at least 5, and our guys were just, you know, they were trying to test him, and Rhino was winning that battle. Something fierce, kept the shin guards on while he was hitting, was going to the opposite field, running the bases. He was an all-around stud. So again, we've seen the BCO quite a bit as a top-tier D team, but they held their own with the big dogs and the Bs. No C teams were there. I can't wait to see this team with the opportunity to play against some of these C teams, because I believe defensively they give themselves a chance to be in any game with those top squads, and they can obviously hit. Everyone can hit for the most part in C's, but how good are you defensively? Yeah, very, very solid crew. Definitely deserve their flowers for sure. And shout out to my man Hayden Bryce. He didn't have his best stuff this past weekend, but I did not like to see that ejection, though it was against us, so I got a good laugh out of it. But get out your head, man. You're a superstar in the making for sure. That team, if they're going to go anywhere come GSL States next week, they need you to be that beast that you are for sure. Get up on Hunter's level. Can't wait to see the BCO out there next weekend, but very, very impressive stuff out of them this past weekend. Let's start with the men's E division, and the state runner-up goes by the name of CT Athletics, and they were a bit of a surprise to everyone out there. A team that has had a lot of roster changes over the course of the year, to where there was conversation about who was what come this past weekend. But the product they put out there was strong. Did not get to see them on Saturday. They were the first team we saw on Sunday. And after seeing them, and my mic picks up quite a few things, before they played against FAAFO, I said it right out loud on an open mic. I believed CT Athletics was going to be FAAFO because they just looked better. I mean, the eye tests don't lie sometimes, and they definitely put a hurting on them in that game. There was a gentleman sitting behind me in the stands that went as far as to say he believed CT was going to win, was going to double dip in the ship. They won the first one, and I looked back at him, and he was like, They didn't get the second one, but they definitely turned some heads running the Sunday gauntlet from start to finish. So, again, shout out to CJ and his crew. Isaac Shavira, 846. He was the offensive MVP of the tournament. Drew Chavez, 727. Javi, 692. Carter Maddox, I like his way, two-way beast for that squad, 655. Mark Angelo can straight up hit. Even his outs were hard-struck balls all over the field. And Daniel Davis, the big man, that's short, 652. Shout out to my man, Matthew Richter, holding it down on the mound, and he was swinging the bat nicely in those big games on Sunday, giving them an opportunity late in that tournament. CT Athletics, I think they're going to be right back. If they can keep this crew together, I think they'll be right back in the mix in a couple weeks come GSL States. They definitely looked the part. They had a couple IEs, but I don't know how scary it was in that regard. I think Isaac possibly gets the bracelet, maybe a guy like Mark Angelo, because he had some pop to him. So they got a couple decent options to be the designated home run hitter come GSL, and they could factor into the mix once again. So again, up and down year for CT Athletics. It leads to a state runner-up performance in the USSSA State Championships. Congratulations to them. Hell of an effort, especially having to run the gauntlet on the Sunday. This one, though, has been a long time coming, but not really, because they just got started midway through last year. It did not take long at all. But Drip is your USSSA Men's E State Champion. How does that sound to Ben Ochoa and his crew? It rolls off the tongue quite nicely here. Some time can be spent here. I'm not going to lie. Some time can definitely be spent. because this was the only one that I really got the live stream, because I was coaching on Saturday, and by the time we finished, the women's divisions were done, so I didn't really get the live stream. And then the men's E were the only division on Sunday. So I'm glad that we got the opportunity to be out there for the E division, who does not get as much respect as the other divisions. What I will say is I was honored to be able to be on the call for it, for personal reasons. And I'm a big fan of a lot of these dudes off the field and getting to talk to them at different times. And I don't know a ton about their individual stories. What I do know is I lost my brother to addiction, and that's something that I still think about every day. So I'm always rooting for others to save themselves, to find their ways to live better lives, and to win off the field. And when you're able to do that, you're champions already. And to carry that mindset onto the field and to capture their first championship to this magnitude is something very, very special. Before I get into any of the numbers or anything, I want to show respect to these guys and their leader, Ben Ochoa. He had some words that he shared with me about the journey that comes with what these gentlemen have to go through. Drip was built in my first year of recovery. I had always wanted to coach, but for years I couldn't stay sober. So I was thrown into a service position within our Sunday Sober League and started helping others in the league. Eventually, I broke off and started building a team that modeled fun, chemistry, high energy, and winning. Winning definitely took some time. We've always been known for second place Drip, but with that service position in the Sober League, I had full access to the upcoming and new talent. So at the end of the first year, at the end of last year, the core guys finally came together, and we have about 7, 8 guys in recovery who I met through the Sober League. The majority of them have only been playing softball for the last 1-2 years, but a lot of us have overcome a lot of obstacles in life, and I think that's what Drip is all about. A second chance to win as something positive. Took a while. Never really thought about it or been asked, but honestly, it's pretty cool. So Ben's another guy that's one of my favorite people. So I couldn't be happier for a guy like him and for Montoya, Red Top over there helping coach, and a lot of these young dudes I really didn't know, to be quite honest with you, but seeing them. Very talented, a lot of hustle, a lot of vocal energy over there from them dudes. I want to shout out my man Brent Harris, because around this same time last year, I'm not sure exactly which event it was. I believe it was a Triple Crown event, and Drip made it to Sunday, and they finished in 3rd or 4th place. And on the live stream and off to the side and anywhere the conversation took place, I was not a fan of hearing his demeanor on the field with his team. I was not a fan, and there was definitely conversation about it, and I was not shy. And if that got back to him, good, because the turnaround as a vocal leader is unbelievable. The way that he interacted with his guys, I would have never thought I'd see that person after what I saw last year. He was great. He led by example with what he did, and we'll look at the numbers here momentarily. But the way he talked to his guys from the catcher spot in the dugout just kept motivating. There was a point where a couple guys were shouting out something negative. He shut that noise down immediately. I was stunned. And I love to see it. He's the cousin of one of my favorite players, Derek Thompson. So I'm sure Derek had some influence over that as well. I think you're set up quite nicely, kid, for what comes next with this team in the D division and wherever you go. Sober aspect aside, I loved what I saw leadership wise, and I think when you're the big voice on the team, that's what they follow. That's what they feed off of. If there's negative energy, then that's going to bring everybody down, and the effort might not be there. But if they know that the biggest voice on the team is the one that is just piping all that energy, then I think that fires people up. And that's the difference between being a 4th or 5th place finisher and winning a state championship. So congratulations to my man Brent on a leadership level. The team as a whole, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about with these boys. 5-1 on the event. 15.67 runs scored per game while allowing 10. They defeated the Aztecs 23-16 in the opener. La Raza 10-3. AZ Outlaws 18-4. The king seat that everyone was fired up to see against co number 1 FAAFO. There's no co in front of that title anymore. 24-14 the final in that game. CT Athletics knocked off FAAFO in a rout in the semifinal, and then routed Drip in game 1 of the ship 14-4. They went immediately into the if game, and I'll spend a moment on that. Final score, though, Drip got the victory 15-9. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Drip because they have gone to quite a few if games from what I'm told, and they definitely make their money in if games for sure. I will say this. We had 90-minute blocks for these games. Why? Because of the weather, because of the heat, to give people opportunities to collect themselves as far as the weather, right? To give the umpires the opportunity to go inside for a few minutes, right? Because the game still had, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, one or the other for the time limit. But the games were blocked off 90 minutes. I don't love, and again, I've been much better about my criticism of the umpires over the last couple of years. I don't love the fact that they rushed right into the if game. I'm sorry. There was enough time to give those teams a little bit of a break to go inside. It was hot. And CT had played each game since 8 a.m. They did not make an excuse of it. And again, I'm not trying to make the excuse for them, but I think considering the product and considering what we put on all day Saturday and into Sunday even, those teams should have been given the opportunity to decide. Or, hey, can we get 5 minutes? Can we get 10 minutes? Because we were ahead enough. That first game was a run rule. We were ahead enough to have been able to give those players a little bit of time. They rolled right into the if game. Drip jumped on them early. Drip scored more runs, I believe, in the first inning than they scored in the entire first game. Rode that momentum all the way through. Matty Nice got knocked out of the game. They went to the bullpen, but they did not have enough offense to come back, and Drip was able to finish the job to win the title. Much deserved in that respect. And let's get into the numbers. Keaton Hassel, talked about him quite a bit on the live. 807 to lead the way. He had a Brett Coolin type of feel to the way he plays ball. If you got obviously more upper, mid to upper players tune into the show. So people obviously know who Coolin is. Yeah, this dude reminded me for sure, scrappy small guy like Brett Coolin that can do a bit of everything. Loved what he brought to the table for that team, no doubt. His mom was in the stand. She was making some noise. She was cool to have around. She definitely left happy with baby boy getting a ring and a little something else that we'll talk about here in a moment. Angel Montoya had some huge hits on Sunday. Again, did not get to see the E's on Saturdays. 750 says he had a damn good weekend, but he had some really, really big moments in those championship games and, of course, the King seed as well, and playing a solid third base for this drip squad. Again, one of my guys, happy to see him have his moment, and he definitely owned it out there. I put the numbers out of order. My apologies for that, because Brent Harris was second on the team with that 761 clip, and it probably would have won the batting title for the team had he not made a couple outs on some hard line drives in that second championship game. Those numbers fluctuate quickly when you make a couple outs in a row, but shout out to Brent. Ochoa, monster, did his thing on the mound. He is the one. As far as the starting pitcher, 760 for him. Really, really good stuff at the plate. And, of course, the pitcher of record leading this top-ranked team to their first set of rings. And Wyatt Brown, 727, rounds out the leaderboard for this squad. Really good number out of him as well. And then all that good work from Baby Coolin led him to some hardware. The tournament's most valuable player was Keaton Hassel, the defensive MVP, Alex Lopiccolo. They call him Pick. And he was picking everything in his direction on the defensive end. Real solid stuff. They both got the dirt all over him to prove it. Congratulations to those young men on very, very solid ball for this state championship squad. Would not be surprised to see them do it again at GSL, and these same two guys taking home some hardware. But the team is strong, so you never know who's going to walk away with it at the end. But Keaton Hassel and Pick, your defensive MVP and tournament MVPs for the men's E state champion. And a look at the numbers, they go 5-1, 43-13 on the year. Their sixth title of the year. CT Athletics is your runner-up. FAAFO was the number 1 coming into it. They had a Sunday letdown with the King seat and then the semifinal, and the AZ Outlaws, after an early loss to Drip, they worked their way back into the top 4, finishing in 4th place. Good run out of them into Sunday. Behind the overall numbers for this Drip team, 27-16 last year, 1 championship to show for it, but in 2025, they flipped the script in a big way. 44-13 thus far on the year, 6 titles, second most in Arizona. 4 of the last 5 tournaments, they have stood with the banner. The last 3, they claimed the title. Winter Nationals, Southwest Invite, Mayday NIT, Bash for Bats, Saturday Night Lights, and now the USSSA State Champions. Again, sincerest congratulations to the gentlemen of Drip, and for everyone in the sober softball community. I've seen so many different posts and comments and respect thrown their way. It's one thing when you've got the weight of your own team on your back, but when you are representing something that means so much more as far as life, that extra weight that they are carrying, and to win a state championship, that's something special. So happy to have been able to call that for you guys live. Happy to have been able to see it for these guys, and we look forward to seeing them back at it in a couple weeks, chasing a GSL title. But if you hear Brent Harris talk, they got much loftier goals. They believe they are going to be a force to be reckoned with come Worlds here in the next couple months. Looking forward to seeing that for sure. As we transition over to the women's BC, and a familiar face came through once again. The women of Sick Not Weak are your state champions. And we're getting used to seeing the Sick Not Weak family, men's and women's, collecting hardware this time of the year. Sick Not Weak is your state champion. They go 3-0. They had an early bye, I believe, and it made the run a little bit easier for them. 17.33 runs scored per game. They allowed 3.67. That is a difference of almost 14 runs per game. Savage. A beast last year in the women's D. Things get tougher in the BC. 13-1. The Rowdy Beavers, 16-7. And then in the ship, 23-3 was the final. Let's look at those numbers. LaTerra Curtis, the future Mrs. Dame Dollar, 909. She can handle her business too, Dame. Peyton McNabbie, 900. Monique Walters, we like to call her as Money, 810 RBIs. We have not seen as much of her, but she's still handling her business. Ariel Montano, always putting up big numbers, 800 for her. Tatum Preckle, 750 for the two-way beast that she is. And Urs the Nurse, 700 with a team best 11 RBIs. And all of those stats led to some hardware going home. Peyton McNabbie, 900 clip offensively, and she's your defensive MVP. So that speaks to what she's able to do on both sides of the ball, no doubt. For S and Dub and Money, it's good to see her back. Money Martell, as we know and love her, years of playing co-ed with her, and she's just electrifying power. Always is I don't care. It never gets old to us dudes when we're out there playing co-ed or watching women's, and you see these ladies with that power. And Money always had that for us with GBD, and she got married and took some time away, and I think she's returning to the softball atmosphere, softball community, and we're happy to see her back. Tournament most valuable player in winning a state championship. Congratulations. Third base, I'm guessing that's where she played because that's where she was before, but wherever you put her, her glove is nice, the bat is nice, she does a bit of everything, and Sick Not Weak acknowledges that with her being the state championship tournament most valuable player. Congratulations to both of those ladies. Sick Not Weak 3-0, 14-5 on the year. They don't get to play nearly as much in the women's game. I know. The Rowdy Beavers are your runner-up. Lady Stride finishes in third, and Savage works their way back to finish in fourth place. All of this without the services of arguably one of the best gloves in all of Arizona women's softball in Samantha Soto, Samantha Varela. Gotta show Roger some love with that married name in there, but they are expecting in the near future. She was wanting to get out there. Pop said no, husband said no, but I'm sure she was very, very proud of her team. But if they are able to still dominate without arguably one of the best gloves in the state, imagine how good this team is going to look when they get her services back. I'm not sure that's going to be during this World's run this year, but we'll keep an eye on baby developments, and we'll celebrate that together as well. But the team is state champions, and they've been doing quite a bit of winning. Only their third title of the year because, again, they don't get to play as much. But championships are becoming a thing in the Sick Not Weak community. The women's BC state champion. Last year, they were the U-Trip women's C state champion, and also the GSL women's C state champion. Also won this year was the April NIT and the Southwest Invite. Shout out to my man Vic Soto, Roger Varela, Edgar Cachone, and the rest of the crew. Sick Not Weak. women's BC state champion. We head on over to the women's D. Couple more divisions before we let y'all get out of here. And shout out to Kristen Waldron and Vendetta on a state championship runner-up performance. The offensive MVP was LJ Clay. She batted .800 on the event. Joe Barnett, .727. Kara Patterson, .714. Lizette Silva, .700. If memory serves me right, because I don't think I see Mama B in the picture. LJ held it down on the mound as well. Two-way excellence. You love to see it in men's and women's ball. LJ, congratulations. Hella effort from these ladies, and they should be in the mix come GSL in a couple weeks, as Vendetta has been playing some very, very good ball here this summer. Second place performance for them. But the state championship, probably the only thing that I got right in my predictions this past week. TGF gets the job done. Shorthanded, it does not matter. They got reserves that are better than your starters. TGF, women's D state champion and an Arizona best 7th championship of the year. Though the pictures they sent to me were very, very blurry, you could definitely see the talent that they had on the field. They go 3-0 on the weekend. Only 11 runs per game for now. This is a juggernaut of an offense. Again, they were missing some pieces. 11 runs. 2.67 runs per game allowed. What in the hell is going on? That's pretty damn good. Pro West 8-2 in game 1, Vendetta 13-2, and then 13-4 in the ship to get the job done. Let me go see what Rad had to say before we get too deep into the numbers, because look, man, I love when coaches provide you the goods. Rad Radke is always going to provide you with one hell of a novel about his ladies. I can sit here and say as much as I want to. I didn't get to see the games. Rad takes it all in nicely for his ladies, and he always shows them some respect. On a weird weekend with only a handful of teams, and with the teams that we're in, had a lot of pickups. Shout out to Vendetta. They always have a great squad, and they are always a challenge. The TGF ladies hung their hats on defense this weekend. It was impressive to watch. The outfield covered a lot of ground, and the infield was absolutely locked in, only allowing 8 runs total for the tournament. Special shout out to our award winners. I wish I had more awards to give. You're kind of messing with my job, so I'm going to skip that area. We'll get into that in a second. Rad also said, I can't do a Dre show without telling you a little bit about how the day went and giving a few more shout-outs. We, like many other teams, had some pickups this weekend. We brought Alicia Talsall out to help us on the mound, and she did amazing in relief of J-Rod. Huge shout-out to her for being a complete team player, great teammate, and she did everything asked of her. And she did it well, also hitting 750. Adri Vidal provided some great defense at second base, as well as some big outs in the outfield for us. Her timely hitting and versatility were crucial. Amber Smith played almost every inning for us in the outfield, and she made some great plays out there. I'll chime in real quick. Amber Smith is one of the most underrated talents in Arizona women's softball. Sometimes when you're on teams that aren't winning as much, your name is not recognized as much. I've seen enough of Amber Smith to know better. She is definitely a monster of a ball player, as is Bailey Alsop, who Rad said played some great innings for us at third base. She was a dog at the hot corner. As for the usual suspects, Mackenzie Dallas provides elite defense at short, and she gives us so much energy at the top of the lineup. Gabby Elliott, Sierra Maganellis, and Stephanie Myrick provide so much defensive versatility and offensive firepower for this team. They show up in ball, no questions asked, no ego, just straight ball. They are great leaders, and when things get tough, we look to them to get something started. Melissa Handorf, Alexis Gonzalez, and Sierra Munoz are such critical pieces to our outfield rotation. They continue to shine and play well together as a unit. To win major tournaments, it does take a full team of ladies being on the same page with a common goal. I'm happy they all trusted the rotations and lineups and stuck it out in the heat. It legit took some blood, a lot of sweat, and even some tears to get the job done. They all deserve their flowers. Wow. I read some of this. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't read all of it, Rad, because I knew I was gonna read it on the show. Now Rad gave me another part that said that it was a side note for just us, but I'm gonna share some of it because I do what I want. He didn't say anything bad about anyone. I was not made aware, but there was a scary injury that took place out there to Sierra Munoz, and she is doing great. She gave everyone a good scare in the championship game with a fly ball that got her in the face. After her stitches, her first words to the team were, "Where's my ring?" So if we didn't already know, these ladies really love playing besides one another. This chick got stitches to the face, and the first thing she said was, "Where's my ring?" I don't think I know Sierra Munoz. I'd like to. You sound like an absolute dog for sure. I hope you got your ring. Congratulations to all the ladies. Now let's see what the numbers look like here. Cassie Rossing. Fast Cass is what they call her. 890. She hit another home run. Gabby Elliott, 778. Sierra Magnellis, 778. Amber Smith, 778. Melissa Handor, 750. And Alicia Tallsalt, 750. We've been doing this here show for a few years now. And it's cool when we get the, put respect on names and all of that stuff. I would say 12 months, maybe 16 months, whatever case it may be. Even last year as well. And again, there's different levels to this softball thing. As far as overall dominant runs, can we remember any individual that has been as hot as Cassie Rossing? Oh my God. I remember the first time I saw her, she was filling in with one of the Challenge Cup teams. We did like a benefit out in Maricopa. And the C team was playing against the D team in like the championship. The C Challenge Cup team was playing against the D Challenge Cup team. And I think Cassie was playing on the D team. And she was a fill-in because someone couldn't be there. And she's hitting bombs. First time I had ever seen her. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I have not stopped watching her game since then. And Cassie Rossing has been an absolute beast. Easily climbed my list of favorite players to watch. So much energy as far as what she brings to her teammates. Good speed, great power. What can't she do? Congratulations on all the success, the bat deal going on with Louisville, and what you continue to do on the field from being a stud at the Challenge Cup. In the minds of many, the MVP of the women's D team that won the whole thing. You come back home, you don't miss a beat. You're leading your everyday team to title after title. It's Cassie Rossing's world, and she culminated this past tournament with the MVP. Tournament MVP for Fast Cast. Congratulations to her. Special shout out to J-Rod, one of the coolest nicknames in softball. Always a bubbly, smiling personality, though she will talk a little bit of shit. They put her on the bump with Ronnie Fettis being out in Reno, and they gave up less than 3 runs a game. J-Rod can do the damn thing. She talks a whole lot of talk, and she can walk it as well. Defensive most valuable player for Jennifer Rodriguez. Congratulations to her. I could hear, because I got over to that side late, right as you guys were finishing up, and I could hear how excited the team was for her when they announced her as the defensive MVP. So a hard ass for sure, but that had to feel good for J-Rod. So congratulations to her on taking home the defensive MVP. And, of course, Fast Cass, the tournament MVP. And, you know, you'd be hard-pressed to find an argument for Women's Player of the Year for everything she continues to do for TGF and any squad she puts a uniform on for. Congratulations to those ladies on the accomplishments. The immediate impact, 7 titles. First in the state of Arizona, a win percentage of .805, the second best in all of Arizona, with the top number belonging to the men's C Sick Not Weak squad at just over .830. They are the Winter National Champ, Southwest Invite, Pot of Gold, March Moneyball, SummerSlam, Saturday Night Lights, and now USSSA State Champions. TGF, congratulations. You're on the clock. We'll see you at GSL. Barring any more emergencies, I won't be out of town, and I hope to get to see them do the damn thing and maybe capture number 9 by that point. They're eyeing up number 8 this coming weekend. And last but not least, the big dogs of the state of Arizona, the men's B division. We've got some A teams, and they travel to other places, but the men's B is the biggest thing happening in state. And I've been calling this team the Standard for quite some time now. They proved to be just that once again. Standard Plumbing, SPS, state champions once again. Congratulations to them. And in a division that doesn't get a lot of play this year, this is actually their first title of the year. They go 4-1 in the event, and that one came at the hands of the aforementioned BCO. Everybody else couldn't stop them. 21.4 runs scored per game. They allowed 18.2. Now, that looks like a close total because there was one route game that they got beat pretty good, but other than that, all right, part of that is incorrect. I don't know why I have the young vets there. No offense to the young vets. Y'all weren't in this tournament. So I made a mistake. But in game 1, Classy, 25-17. That loss was from the BCO. BCO won that one 22-10 in pool play. And that was after they beat MAJ. So there was a lot of eyeballs like, whoa, what are we seeing here? Well, bracket play is a different beast. Classy, 29-20. BCO, once again, different result, 15-12. And MAJ in the shit. And the rivalry continued between those two top teams. Standard had a monster, I believe it was 3rd inning, to put that one away, 28-20 to capture the title. Congratulations once again. To SBS, and Michael Joseph batted 1,000, and they were lasers all over the field. MJ, always a tough out, and yeah, so much so that no one could get him out. Bo Cuthbertson, haven't seen a lot of him. He's always a tough out. 866, which should be 867. I always make fun of the coaches, and I did not round that up myself, so my bad. I blame Zach. He sent me the information. But Bo Cuthbertson, 867. Gage Owsley, 867 as well. Always hitting lasers is my man Gage. It's crazy how long I've known him and his family, and the his continued growth in this game. I don't care if I'm going against him. Gage is one of those dudes that I'm always rooting for, no doubt. So I love to see that. Skylar Cone, 764 from the former Home Run Derby champ. Dom Bravo, 736. Matthew Barnes, 736. Low key, and I can say this now because I'm in my 40s. My body is breaking down a little bit. I'm still quick, and I've put on some weight. For my money, Matthew Barnes might be the fastest player in Arizona softball. Like, if we ever had like a skills challenge where you line someone up from home to first base, or you can line two people up for a flat out race, like I did not know. And that's a big dude. That's another dude that looks like a damn linebacker. Matthew Barnes is track star fast. He can hit the ball over the net. Yeah, with ease. That dude is ridiculously quick. And he beats out infield balls that he hits very hard at a defensive player, and he still beats out balls with relative ease. I was thoroughly impressed, with his overall game. So shout out to him. But yeah, his team was fired up when he was beating out infield stuff, and this dude is sick. Like, you see somebody run that damn fast, and then the next ball he hits is probably one hopping off of your windshield. Very, very talented dude, no doubt. And he's injured. I think he would beat out like an infield single, and then they would send in a runner for him. Like, you're sending in a runner for the fastest guy in the tournament. But love to see it. A lot of good dudes on this team. I think, doing this show and getting to play with some of these guys and all of that, the Standard Plumbing family, they're always looking for high level talent. It's like, we can be friends later, but they're going out there with the sole mission to beat you down badly. And that was a squad that got off to a little bit of a slower start against that BCO team, and they gave them their flowers as well. As next time they played, they only beat them by 3. But yeah, this team was the best team on the diamond, no doubt. No accidental wins for them. They've been doing it for a long time. Different pieces coming in and out. A lot of the same dudes, though. Michael Joseph is your tournament MVP. When you bat 1,000 with relative ease, that's going to happen. They did not get individual pictures, but I was still able to bring up a little something. While I'm throwing out compliments, I don't know. I think you're hard-pressed to find a better overall pitcher in Arizona than Zach Ketcherside. I mean, I think his bat has come a long way, but this dude has been a solid defensive pitcher for quite some time now. Continues to be excellent on the bump. The middle is closed. He's not walking people. So if you're an offensive team, then you're going to have the opportunity to do some things, but you're going to have to work with some movement because he can move the ball quick. If you're arguing with an umpire on a strike, he's going to throw another one. He can throw between the legs, behind the bat, flat-footed and calm. Anything he wants to do, this kid does it. And he's been doing it at a high level for a long time. And I think vocally, a lot of people want to beat him because he's a very loud, he talks some shit, but my favorite type of player is the ones that talk shit and can back it up. Because y'all know me, I'm not quiet by any means. Doing the coaching thing, I think I've been a little bit quieter. But, it's being coaching, you get to appreciate the talent of these guys a lot more. And just what he's able to do on the mound. Again, he's probably the pitcher that most want to beat in Arizona. You're not going to, more times than not. So another solid run from Ketch, defensive MVP. Congratulations to him as we dive into the stats or excuse me, the records a little bit. We got a little bit more on Standard on the next slide. They go 4-1 in this one. Only 15-15 on the year. Again, not a lot of opportunities to play. Some of these tournaments have been opens against conference teams and what have you. But this is their first title of the year. Not a bad one to get. MAJ finishes in second place. They came in as the number 1, but it's been pretty even, going back to earlier in the year between MAJ and Standard. Standard gets the better end of things this time. BCO finishes in third place, and Classy is your fourth place finisher. And as I like to call them, they are the Standard. Put some respect on the top dog. And this is what it looks like. They are the 2025 Men's B U-Trip State Champions. Back in 2024, they were the GSL State Champion. They were the Men's B USSSA runner-up. In 2023, they were the Men's C World third place finisher after being a U-Trip C State runner-up. And in 2022, the beginning of the greatness, they were the Arizona Men's D Triple Crown winner, 69-11, 9-time champion that year. And they went on to finish runner-up at USSSA and GSL Worlds that year, both times losing to those Amish gentlemen from the Midwest or Mideast, or whatever you want to call it. They were pretty good. But again, first year out the gates. And we talk about the talent that continues to come up and the teams winning games, and 69-11 and 9 titles was how they introduced themselves, and they have not missed a beat the last 3 years since. We'll see what they can do in a couple weeks at GSL, and obviously at GSL Worlds a little bit down the line. But again, congratulations to the Standard here in the state of Arizona. Standard Plumbing, another state championship. Shout out to their leader, Brian Ketcherside, everything that he does as it relates to being a sponsor and a coach. He's always got an interesting hat on, coaching third base with the book in hand. He's Mr. Do Everything, and he lets the players go out there and play ball, and they have definitely done that at a high level for him over the years. So as an announcer, as an opposing coach, much respect. Standard Plumbing continuing to do great things for Arizona softball. And we bring you back home to the main screen as we're getting close to an end. Is there comments that I need to look at? Let's go back because we care about what the people say. What up, Marquise, if you're still here? Ronnie Fettis saying hello. Let's go TGF. Again, I don't know how deep the conversation went. I hope that they heard me, and I'm hoping next year that States is not the same weekend as the Boneyard. I need more people here for our event next year. Cassie Rossing, we talked about her. One half of the fabulous Hanson brothers. What up, Tyler? TGF is ready for this weekend. Women's all-nighter, of course, with some good teams in the field. That should be a good one. J-Rod chiming in as well, letting them know that they will be ready. Jill Friedman, 8 a.m. Coming for that ass, Jill. 8 a.m. We're going to be the surprise team of that tournament this weekend. It's going to be a good time. David Bates is just saying hi to JC. All right, do that weird stuff elsewhere. What up, Rhino? Excited for the weekend, no doubt. I got $20 that says Chantel strikes out. Davion King broke my glove his first at bat in the first game. Oh yeah, I remember you having to get a new glove. Davion was hitting some missiles out there. I think he hit the foot or ankle of Ryan Adams in a game against Classy as well. Yeah, that kid always hitting the ball hard. Something fierce. Ben Ochoa, appreciate the love. Oh, I I gotta be careful here because I don't want to piss off one of my fellow coaches. I'm a huge fan of people keeping the book and keeping it the right way. There were no stats for my MAJ guys because our book is a hot mess. Good God. I think I'm going to keep my own book this weekend just so we can have some stats out there for the tournament and flag staff. But that is why there was no numbers for us. Who are the other second place teams? We have Vendetta's information. We have CT's information. We did not have the information for the Rowdy Beavers and the women's D or the women's BC because their coach is on vacation, and good for her. Bree Carpio, you deserve it. Enjoy yourself. So we try to throw the runner-up numbers out there or whatever numbers are sent to us, but that's why we didn't have anything for that team and for my own team. Yeah, I'm gonna take a book out to third base. I need stats. And why do we keep stats, y'all? Accountability. Accountability matters so much. I'm just a firm believer that if you put numbers out there after the tournament, you let the team know where everyone did, the good players are going to feel good and they're going to keep working. They're going to keep trying to be leaders. And the players who aren't hitting well, you better step your game up or we're going to find someone else that can. So that's why I'm a huge believer in the numbers. I don't think one tournament always tells the overall story. So shout out to those coaches that keep a running total for the entire year. I strongly believe and will always believe that the stats do matter. Ben Ochoa, yeah, you guys are definitely earning it on and off the field. Much love for sure. Vaughn, that's my guy. Look forward to playing against you. You won't because we're going to walk you. I'm going to encourage Rhino to pitch around you. You are not hitting 6 home runs against us. I tell you that right now. Vince Wilson showing some love to Brent Harris. Andrew Thurman, my man, where you been? I saw you in the picture, so I'm glad that you were back out there with your guys. Good to see my man, Andrew Thurman. There's Brent Harris. Very subdued, drip. That's it, because now verbally he says a whole lot more, but congratulations to him. Evan Clark, best white boy hair in softball. Man, I kind of miss playing. I miss seeing you, man. Come back with the braids. Sabrina Gamboa, let's go, ladies. Showing some love. Sabrina Gamboa is one of the best women's players in Arizona as well. Pretty good. Yeah. Speaking of the standard, this one right here is one of the overall standards in women's softball. Gage's wife, Vanessa. I appreciate her tuning in to show some love for the other women in the community. I'm sure she probably wanted to hear her husband's name as well. But ladies, strive to play like Vanessa Owsley, period. So good. J-Rod, I hope you appreciated that love you got because you definitely earned it. Less than 3 runs per game. Congratulations again on the Defensive MVP award. Cassie Rossing, letting it be known, J-Rod really did her thing. And speaking of Miss Owsley, Jennifer Rodriguez, congratulations on the Defensive MVP. I love a girl that can flash the leather. Yeah, that J-Rod, if you didn't already know, and I'm sure you know who Vanessa is, that's a bigger compliment than anything that I can say when one of our women's legends is showing you that love. Yeah, that's big time right there. And she said thank you. Good. TGF, well-deserved MVPs. Gabby Stacy, second best OBP. Always solid with the glove and the stick. Another one of those two-way monsters for that well put together TGF squad. Paula's showing some love to the husband, and this might be the first time that she's not acknowledged me on my own damn show, but I'm glad that she was able to show some love for her hubby. And my man Gage was in here as well. So good. I think he was playing third base, but wherever you put him, he's tough. And there was a moment, not to I like the leadership type stuff as well. There was a moment in one of the games, it was probably against our guys, where there was like an early error or something, and there's a little bit of chirping within the standard infield, and I love seeing the way Gage calmed it down. Gage was just like, leave him alone or leave it alone, and like he's still a relatively young dude. I mean, and I love that he's not just a talented dude that just rests on his talent and runs his mouth in a negative way. He's a talented dude that's going to be a leader, that's going to keep his team in check, hold everybody accountable, and let's get back to business. If we drop one, then make sure you get the next one type of leader. So I loved hearing that from him out there at the hot corner, right in front of our dugout. You know, I was proud of him in that moment, even though I was hoping he would miss the next ball. He likely did not. And then he hit one over the net. But much love again. You know, there's a lot of people that you meet in this game, and a lot of people that you just acknowledge in passing. That's somebody that I'm always going to make an effort to stop and talk to, acknowledge him, his wife, his little one as well. So congrats, Gage, on good shit this weekend, continued success, and the leadership. Love to see it, no doubt. Justin, excited to play with Drip this weekend. Hope to help them pull that back-to-back ships. Bro, we're way past back-to-back. Drip is going for their 4th in a row. It ain't back-to-back, bro. They've been doing it for a minute now. 6-time champion, chasing only TGF among the pound-for-pound top teams. Will they be able to tie them this weekend? Will they stay within 1? Will TGF take a 2 tournament lead on them? Both of those teams in action this weekend. 13 championships between the two squads. You love to see it, even for all-nighters. Our top teams getting out there and getting after it. 1 hour, 36 minutes. Good show. I think I made one notable mistake on a slide. I was not happy with myself. Apologies to the BCO, because I even remember the slide. The BCO did defeat Standard Plumbing. It was not the Young Vets. It was the BCO. Payback was gotten later, on the way to the Standard winning the championship. So congratulations again, Standard Plumbing, with Michael Joseph and Zach Ketcherside, the men's B state champion. The men's E belongs to Keaton Hassel and Pick and the rest of the Drip family, title number 6. The women's B belongs to Money Marcel and the ladies of Sick Not Weak. And the women's D, J-Rod, Cassie Rossing, and 7-time champion TGF. We had some fun this weekend. Shout out to the championship winning teams from this past weekend's all-nighter as well. Raleigh White, Chino Tropics, and Jill Friedman and company, the Bandits, winning in the co-ed. I'll see you guys around 7:50 a.m. on Sunday. We'll talk a little shit before we get after it. And everyone else, wherever you're going this weekend, I know there's tournaments in different places, Flagstaff, all-nighter at Victory, co-ed at Victory. I believe there's another one through some other organization, blah, blah, blah. Safe travels wherever you go this weekend, and have fun. Coaches, get me them stats. We'll talk about it again next week. But till then, enjoy your weekend, y'all. It's The Voice. I'm out.